So I am CEO of Enterprise Ireland. Enterprise Ireland is the Irish state agency that's responsible for developing the Irish enterprise sector, so Irish-owned enterprises, as well as a range of functions around innovation, including third level and other funding for innovative startups and IP creation. So my business journey goes back a long way. I spent 17 years in private sector before the public sector, but really my connection with Glandore started about 8 years ago when I joined IDA Ireland. And throughout my nearly 8 years at IDA, Glandore was a huge and growing part of the ecosystem that we drew on to provide landing spaces and long-term spaces in certain cases for some of our key clients. On the island of Ireland, we have a huge amount of advantage to bring. One of the key ones is talent, a hugely talented base of people. I think we're a hugely globalized economy on the island of Ireland, and we're very aware of all the nuances of global business because, frankly, we depend on a global ecosystem. We also have a lot of inherent advantages around some of the functional aspects of doing business, very low bureaucracy around setting up businesses, low corporation tax rates, incentives to business to grow their bases, and lots of other things that are really important in practical terms when you grow out your business, not to mention wonderful property providers and people who can support our clients in finding physical locations. The advice I've always given to multinational enterprises coming in is to think strategically and to make sure that they make a very good first hire or first number of hires, and that they integrate those people fully to their corporate strategy, but give them enough autonomy to design how Ireland can really respond to meet their needs. Post-pandemic, it's still evolving. I think there's a discussion going on about remote work, not just in an in-country, but on a global basis. Obviously, there's talk about hybrid work and distributed models. I think a lot has yet to play out. I think we're still at the middle stage of the end, hopefully, of the pandemic. I think there's a big piece to play out about whether business snaps back to a more like pre-pandemic way of working or whether things are utterly changed. I think one or two things are changed for good, and one of the primary ones is use of technology, as we're doing now. I think far more people will use technology to connect, and that definitely flattens the world. However, I think the need to have office spaces, as you know, and connect with people deeply in person will never go away. Business depends on human connection. So you could take the very functional approach and say it's provided a space for clients to land in a flexible way while they're still figuring out what their long-term plans are. That certainly helps us, because if we found people going into a very small and constrained space before they hire their leaders, as we talked to earlier, we could find that constrains their growth. Having an option like Glandore where people can land on a short-term basis and flex up to meet their first 1 or 2 years demands and then make decisions about their strategic direction has been crucially important. And I think in the case of Glandore in particular, the customer service model that you've wrapped around your offering has been crucial, and has certainly provided people who are used to white glove treatment when they go around the world with a view that they are coming into a shared office experience, but they're not surrendering any of the service that they might expect when doing that.